All of you are doing well. My name is Shriya Bansal and I'm currently working as a software engineer at Microsoft, and I'm also an educator at Level. So in this video, we are actually moving towards the last branch in the SQL commands, which is about DQL. And trust me, this is actually one of the most popularly used commands as well, because like I said, in more or less in all the scenarios, every user pretty much has the access to fetch the records from a table, and sometimes they do have the access and they want to draw certain analysis from the data which is present in the databases. So for that, the DQL commands, the query command, which is just a single command select, comes in very handy. But make sure you understand that it is a single command, but it is actually having a lot of usage and a wide variety of ways it can be used as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go step by step and actually understand how does the select query basically works. So we are moving towards DQL, okay, which is the very last part, which stands for data query language. Okay, and in this we have the select command. Okay, what is select command is basically useful for? Select command is used to retrieve records from the table. Okay, if you want to retrieve some records, you can do that. The syntax is very simple. You do select, right, and you mention what all columns you want. Let's say this is column 1, column 2, right, and where do you require it from? You mention the table name. Okay, so that is what pretty much in a simplistic way the syntax of select statement is. Now it would be a good time to take an example. First, let's do one thing. Let's actually ingest a few data into this table. Let me first delete the table and add a few values from scratch. Okay, so I will do truncate table teacher. So when I do select star from teacher, we'll come to this one as well. Okay, it's an empty set. Now I'm going to insert a few values. Aman, let's say 30, and then Ajay, let's say 45, and Rahul, let's say 51, and Vijay is 32. Okay, so these are all the values which are there. Let's quickly take a look at the database. Okay, we actually inserted with this update. Let's run an update command. Okay, update table teacher set id equal to 2, where name equal to, let's say, Ajay. Okay, here it says that update table teacher, right, and we want to set where, let's do one thing. Let's actually do the update without this. Okay, so you don't have to put the table. Okay, so here let's see if this works or not. Let's look at the table. Okay, which is updated. Let's say next I want to do for Rahul, and I want to do it 3, and then I want to do last for ID should be set to 4, where the value is Vijay. Okay, this way you learn more as well. Now everything looks fine. So this is the data. Now let's say I want to first just get, write the ID and the name. Okay, so although the table contains a lot of columns, sometimes you just require a certain columns. So you can do this. And in the output, what will you simply get? You will just get the ID and you will just get the name. Okay, so this is when you want to get specific columns. In the output. That is the first one. The second one is when you need all records of the table, and for that we've actually been seeing the command already. So you do select, you put star. Star means that you need everything from the table, and then you put from, and then you put table name. Okay, that was pretty much what this command was. When you need every row and when you need every column from a certain table, you basically execute this. Okay, and then the third one that we have is then when we want to select a particular record based on a condition. Okay, so this is a situation when you don't want to find all the records, right? You need all the columns, but you only need, let's say, a particular set of records which satisfy a condition. So when you have a condition, you always put where. Okay, this is after which you put the condition. So it could be like this. Let's say select star from teacher where name equal to, let's say, Ajay. So I only want to look at the record where name is equal to Ajay. So you will see that all the other records are not shown. Only the record where the name is equal to Ajay is basically shown. Okay, and that is what you basically have over here. All right, and that is what the select query basically is. Clear to everyone? Any questions, any doubts over here? So make sure you clarify and just, try out once on yourself as well to actually understand what is happening. Okay, so here you can see that's what pretty much it says about the query as well. That when we do select expressions from the table and where you mention the condition. Okay, you can also mention the fact, let's say select first name from student where roll number is greater than 15. Okay, so here also you can do something like this. So there are a lot of things, not just equal to sign, many other clauses as well, where age is greater than, let's say, 40. So you only have those records over here for those teachers who have an age greater than 40, right? I told you select queries are very, very crucial to, draw some analysis as well, right? If you want to draw some reports, see to analyze some data, right? Try to see what actually happens. I would say select queries actually comes very, very handy in all those situations. Okay. So that is what pretty much the select query over here is, which comes under DQL, right? But remember here, the simple select query is select the expression, the columns from the table. Okay, but you try to introduce a lot of clauses in it to make it more efficient to use. So here what we did was we actually used the where clause over here in order to use the select query, which was actually giving us the result based on a particular condition. So what happens is, like this, there are actually a lot of clauses. Okay, so we have like a where clause we can add a like clause, we can add a order by clause, we can add a group by clause, we can add a having clause, distinct clause, and an or clause. Okay, so these are all the clauses which can be used with the select statement. Okay, and that is what I was talking about as well, that we can actually add a lot of clauses with the select statement, which helps to actually enrich the data that we are getting from the select statement. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll actually go to all of these clauses one by one and actually understand what do they really do. So first we will talk about the where clause. Now what exactly happens in a where clause is that you add where clause and then after that you can add a certain condition. Okay, so here let's say you have this where let's say id is greater than 2. So you add some condition and only the rows satisfying the condition are returned in the results. Okay, so we can say the syntax is that you add the operation over here. Okay, it could be update, it could be delete, it could be insert, any operation that you like to do. Okay, you can do any operation. You can add a select as well, you can add a delete as well. Then you put the table name, right? And usually after that you put the where clause, and after which you mention the condition. Okay, if it's a select clause, sometimes in between over here you add like either columns as well or star as well based on what you require, even more than that as well, but for the understanding you can do this. And only the records which satisfy this condition are returned in the output. Okay, no other records are actually returned in the output, and that is what you can see as well. Okay, next what you can also see is, to understand, you see that we are applying operators, right, where name is equal to Ajay, right, where age is greater than let's say 20. So these are different operators you are applying in the where clause. So what all you can actually apply is, you can add the equal to clause. Okay, you can add the not equal to clause also in where condition. You can put greater than, you can put less than, you can put less than equal to, you can put greater than equal to, you can also do between. Okay, something like this, where let's say I do age, okay, between, right, let's say 30 to 40, 30 and 40. Okay, so only the employees who are in the age between 30 to 40 are displayed over here. Okay, so you can add like a between clause like this as well. That means here we actually need a data or the result between the specified range. Alright, based on that you can put the like as well. Okay, like clause, we'll talk more about this as well. Here this is used to search for a pattern, okay, in the values. Okay, and then we also have in. Okay, here this is used to search in a set of values. Okay, don't worry, we'll take relevant examples for all of them as well to understand this. But remember, these are basically all the operators, some of the operators that can actually be used in where clause. Okay, so that's what pretty much the idea about where clause is. Okay, next what we will do is we will talk about the like clause. Okay, we talked about like clause in where part also. Now we'll have a detailed discussion about like clause as well. So what basically happens in the like clause is that it is used like in the condition in the SQL query with where. Okay, like basically compares the data, okay, with an expression. So it will compare all the data that is present with a certain expression, okay, using the wildcard pattern. So I would recommend you can learn a little bit about the wildcard pattern, right? To match the pattern with the given condition. I'll give you a proper example for this. So first, let's talk a little bit about wildcard patterns. So what happens in wildcard patterns is there are two wildcard patterns. Okay, one is percentage and one is underscore. Okay, so what happens over here is that in percentage, what we use is we basically try to represent 0, okay, 1 or more than 1 character, and when we score underscore, it basically represents a single character. Okay, that is what the differentiation is. Now, how do we use the like clause? Okay, let's say here I use this where name like A and this. Okay, so whatever names are actually starting with A, and percentage means that you can have as many characters as you want after that, but all the names that starts with A are basically mentioned over here. So if I do A this, that means it should starts with A. Okay, here let's say if I do this, this basically means that the first character could be anything, because underscore always means the first character or a single character. Second character I have already told, and after that there could be as many characters as we want. So this means, right, that the second character should be M. Okay, and here it happens as well, right? The second character is indeed M in Aman. Okay, here let's say if I do this, that if I actually use this in the start, that means in the end the last character should be L, in the front there could be as many characters as we want. So this means that this should end with L. Okay, that is what pretty much the idea is. You can add more as well as you want. There is no like hard rule on that. You can also do like something like this. So that means the third character, first two characters could be anything, the second character should be H. Or you can also do something like this, that in front you can have as many characters, in end you can have as many characters, in between you should just have a J. So you can see in both Ajay and Vijay we do have a J in between. Okay, so try to use this as much as you can. It means that the third character should be H. Okay, and here if I do let's say this means there should be a J in between in the string. Okay, it could be at any position, it could be at the front, it could be at the end, it could be in somewhere in between the string, but there should be a J in between, because this could mean no characters also, this could mean one characters also, or this could mean more characters as well. Okay, but this basically means a single character. Okay, so like is basically that you have a wildcard pattern, and using that wildcard pattern you are trying to match a certain set of characters. Okay, that's pretty much what the idea for like is. So far we've covered two. Okay, where is basically you put some condition, right, and then we talked about like is used with where only. Okay, but in like, you basically put a wildcard match in and you try to match it, right? It may so happen sometimes that, let's say, that the first name or the first character of the person, but you might not know the entire name for that, right? You're still looking. So in that case, you can use this query, right, wherein you do a start. So you know the starting character is a, but you don't know anything after it. So it will fetch all the records with the names starting with a, right? That is why I said the select query and the fetching of data operation is very, very, I would say, optimized and very, very efficient and very advanced in data and like the concept of relational DBMS over here. Okay, so I hope this is clear to everyone. Next, so now we have covered already the where clause and the like clause, right? Where both of them are actually used together as well. If you have to use like clause, you put it with where clause only, because like is more or less like a condition, right? Which you put with the where clause. In the next video, what we will do is we will talk about the order by clause, group by clause, having clause, distinct, and or clause. Okay, so we'll stop the discussion over here since we do not want the video to be very long, so that you do not have too much content to like understand in one go. But we'll take the very idea in the next classes and take our discussion forward for SQL clauses. Okay, and this actually ends our discussion, which we started with all the discussion for all these, I would say, DDL commands, TCL commands, DML command, TCL and DQL commands. Okay, so this pretty much completes all of it, and we have actually covered all of these commands, right? All of these, I would say, ways of executing these commands as well. In the next videos, we are going to take a deeper dive, a little bit of a deeper dive into DQL commands, right? And see what all efficient and advanced operations can be done with DQL. Okay, and trust me, it is very, very important, and it is actually used very popularly as well. So I would recommend everyone to practice a lot on these concepts, as it will help you to gain more experience, because like I always say, in the end, it's all about gaining as much experience as you can on these commands. The more practice you are doing, the more comfortable you become, and the more easier for you is to interpret these concepts as well. Okay, so that's what pretty much the overall idea will be here. And in the next video, we'll continue in our discussion for talking about SQL clauses. Okay, thank you so much for attending this video.